Welcome to your journey of healing with the Healing Podcast, hosted by licensed clinician Monique Owe and co-host Dr. Amber Mohn.
Thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast. I'm your host, Monique Owe, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host,
Dr. Amber Mohn.
Today's topic is the dynamics of a blended family. How will it work? Well, blended family, what we know, we all probably have seen that lovely show years ago, The Brady Bunch.
Yes, love
right,
that
Dr.
show.
Mohn, remember?
Yes.
Here's a story of a
Yeah.
lovely lady. Right, I can't sing. Right? So
Yes.
here we are. We all love the Brady Bunch probably, and you know how it was so nice that he had his three boys and she had her three girls. They both were widows. He was a widower, she was a widow. It just gelled.
Yes.
Right? Now it might have been little bumps and bruises at the beginning, but still they gelled nicely and they became siblings, right?
Yes.
Well, that's the good side of it. That's I guess the honky-dory, happy-go-lucky side of it. But in real life, yes, we do have blended families, some of them that work wonderfully.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Mohn, they're a blessing, right? When we all can come together, my family, your family, a union, a marriage has now allowed us to be blended. Nice little dynamics of a mixture there.
Yes.
But the dynamics, there's other sides to the blended family, Dr. Mohn. What are those?
Oh my goodness. There are a lot of the problems that can arise when you're trying to blend your family. And I think they're really, really important. So we can start with, the children may not get along with the other children. If you're, if the one partner is coming in with more than one child or just one, and the other partner is coming in, with one, in a perfect world, we'd hope that they'd get along, but that's not always the case. And then you could have a child that doesn't get along with the step-parent. That might be a problem. Or the step-parent, doesn't, they don't really care for the child, and then we, definitely when we're blending families, another problem that can arise is that, the child might, have some issues with being away, from the biological parent, or might feel, a certain way because, the biological parent, they just might feel left out. So, then that's just a couple of instances where, where that would make it difficult for a family to blend successfully.
Very true. Thank you, Dr. Mohn. Many times there's a lot of favoritism that goes on, in blended families. Yes. If this parent is coming in with their child and you have a child, and they might have favoritism towards their child, right? Versus you. The other parent may not know about it because they may not have any favoritism, right? Like maybe if mom has a child and she marries a guy with a child, and let's say the father does not have favoritism. He's like, they're both my children. But mom may be a little bit more partial to her biological child, right? So there goes the other dynamic, Dr. Mohn, where one is getting mistreated, right? And I believe you may have mentioned it, and one is kind of overlooked just a little bit,
Right.
You have to do this extra, but mine doesn't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which creates the resentment, maybe, or like, the other child feels left out. Like, well, why do I always have to do this? And, and you're trying to figure out, well, do I tell my biological parent that this parent is treating me this way?
Mm-hmm.
And will they understand me if I do? And you're just trying to learn each other, right? You're trying to blend this one with that one.
Right.
And it can be a beautiful thing because sometimes we do get blended. Sometimes our former spouses or partners have passed away. Sometimes, yes, you have gotten a divorce or maybe just no longer together, so you need to form a union with this other person that you love. But here's the problem. Will they be accepted, Dr. Mohn? I think, well, what about this, Dr. Mohn? Because blended family also goes with a single person who maybe did not have children, and maybe they're going to marry somebody that has children.
Right.
Will those children accept the person that's marrying their parent?
It's a good question, Monique. You or I can't say, but one thing I will say is that it's important not to force things.
Okay.
You can't, I really believe that things need to happen organically. They do. And I've seen in several situations where things, when things are forced, the relationship is never organic. And like you said, going into the, resentment, then you start resenting your own parent. For example, if you have a daughter, and, you're getting ready to marry, this man, and, you're bringing your daughter into this relationship, and he doesn't have any children, I don't think that it's a good idea. And this is my opinion. I don't think it's a good idea to automatically start making this child call, this man dad, especially if his dad is right down the street, and is in her life. I can't imagine how that would make, and she's already calling him dad, I can't imagine how that would make your daughter feel. Now, if she comes to you and says, hey mom, I got, 2 dads, and is it okay if I call such and such dad? Well, by all means, go ahead, because this is a blended family and we're all working together. And I just really feel like, and vice versa, making the person that you're going to marry or have already married, be, something to your daughter, if he's not ready, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. It didn't happen organically. And so the child could possibly feel that it's not organic, that it's so.
Well, that is definitely true, Dr. Mohn. Thank you for that information. We can't force things. It does have to be natural. I think that sometimes can go into cultural sometimes. Some cultures not calling a parent by, the father or dad or whatever, it can come off as not having respect for them because you're calling them by their first name or whatever. But so cultural can play a piece. But you still have to find a way to where I think communicate with your child.
Yeah.
Find out how they feel, right? Make sure when you are going to go into that dynamic, whether you're marrying into somebody that has children or you both have children, make sure you have communicated with your children what is about to happen. I think some parents make mistakes that when they don't at least even communicate, they feel like, oh, they're little, they don't need to know, they don't understand. I don't care if they're 5, 10, 17. Let them know, right, Dr. Mohn, who's coming into their life now, who's going to be a partner to you, the parent who's there, or the, mom or dad, but they're going to be a partner to you, but now they're going to kind of be a parental figure to your children. Right. They don't have to be called mom and dad, but they're changing the dynamic, right, yes. Dr. Mohn?
Yes.
It was you and it was us, yes. Right, mom, dad, yes. was us. We were good. We had the dynamic going, and now you want to bring in who?
Exactly.
Well, who's this stranger?
Right.
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 Where'd you meet him? Mm-hmm. Why? I think, and I just don't like when parents do that, when they dismiss a child because they feel, oh, they're little, they can't tell. Because the child doesn't understand. I don't understand. Why is it now changing? I thought it was you and now I have this person. So I think, please, don't dismiss your children's feelings about the new dynamic that's going to happen, because they do deserve that, right? They do deserve that. Because a whole other doorway gets opened when you don't, right? When you just drop it on them. And they just have to adjust because it's like a stranger, right, Dr. Yes. It's a stranger basically that just, you knew them.
Yes.
You got to know them. You love them. Y'all been spending time together. And now all of a sudden you want the child just, boom, accept it.
Exactly. And you got to call them daddy.
And you got to call daddy, mommy. And then they're like, but I don't know you. I thought my mom passed away. Why do I have to call you mommy? Yes. Are you taking place of my mom? Explain, right? Well, how about this, Dr. Mohn? Well, what about if the situation is, how long should a person wait before they introduce the person to the child?
Well, I definitely think that, you have to, it's important. Oh gosh, that's tough. Because, at least, if you're dating and, your options are open for, to date other people, then you definitely shouldn't. Because you definitely don't want to bring several people into your child's life unnecessarily. But when you feel like, this is somebody that I want to continue, to be with and to see where this goes. I want to be exclusive. They feel the same way. You feel like they feel the same way. Getting to know your child is part of getting to know, them getting to know you and all the aspects of your life. So I always tell, my children, don't bring anybody home to me until you know for sure that this is who you want to marry. Now, you may not get to the altar, but,
Wait a minute, Dr.
all,
Mohn. Hold on.
you,
Wait a minute, Dr. Mohn.
yes.
Don't you have... Wait, how old are your children again?
Well, I have a 24-year-old and I have a 13-year-old, and I'm starting on him now because he sometimes feels like, he's had a future Miss Mohn, let him tell it. So I'm just like, and he wanted me to meet her, and I'm like, no, sir, not at 13. And so I'm letting them know now, and I just throw it at my daughters, but like, listen, I don't want to meet everybody and their mom.
Okay,
I want to meet the person that you really, really care about, you're in an exclusive relationship with. Because then, I do want them to know all of you, and I am part of all of you. So that's what I'm saying. And who knows when that is? It could be a couple months. It could be a couple weeks, hopefully a couple months. When you're sure that this relationship is serious.
Well, I think your son told you he was serious.
Yeah, he did, but he ain't with her now.
But see that mom, he's not with her now. Do you see that? Now, mom told him when you're serious. The son said he was serious, but now, no. Well, no, I see that. Now, here's the thing. But anyway, the thing is, communicate with your children and let them know, there's a dynamic that's going to change. Yes, I think you should wait until at least you are sure that you are kind of going to be serious with this person, right? Because that's fair to your child, and because imagine you get so serious and you're about to get married, y'all love each other. Now you're going to dump it on your child, and your child's like, I don't like
this person, and you're serious,
right?
What and where?
And I'm not going to respect them, and I don't want to listen to them. And now that causes challenges in your relationship because the person you with should be respected. We're not talking about the titles here, but they should be respected. But if your child feels like, I don't know who they are, and they haven't warmed up to them, then that causes some strife, All right, so before we get back into this topic and talk about the damage you can do when you don't mix the blend too well, we're going to go ahead and make a quick segue here. And you guessed it, we're going to get into the situation. Dr. Mohn, what's our situation for today?
All right. Dear Healing Podcast, I have been married 3 years. Dated my husband for 3 years. His family is from the Caribbean. I adore his family, but I can't help to think that they don't like me or they say negative things about me. I say this because when I am around them, at random moments, they will start speaking in their language, which I don't speak. I have told my husband about this and how it bothers me. He feels that I am worried about nothing and has reassured me that they are not talking about me. The thing is, I don't know if he truly gets what I'm saying. He is not always there to witness this. My first question, am I too worried about this? Second question, how can I cope when I have to go around them? Wow, and I definitely kind of feel your pain about that. I've heard, something similar to this before. Listen, go with your gut. How you feel when you go around your husband's family is important. And if it's important to you, it should be just as important to your husband. So if you are feeling, a certain type of way, definitely needs to be addressed. Now, I will say how you address it will alter kind of how you move forward. I really suggest that you really get with your husband and say, and talk to him and have him go to his family. Because if you go and just, say, look, I know you're talking in that language and I can't hear, I don't understand, and I feel like you're talking about me. And if there's a small possibility that they really aren't talking about you, then, it could be hard getting back to, kind of where you were. Let's see. I had something else, Monique.
Let's see, it might come to you.
Yeah, it'll probably come to me. Tell me what you think about it.
I think, how can you cope? Well, one, are you worried about it too much? No, I think your feelings are valid, however you feel. I won't say you're overthinking it or anything. But how should you cope with it? My is ignore it and do you. And if you don't want to go around them, don't. I think when you do, like, it has to be like a big holiday thing, things like that. Then you're like, oh gosh, I got to go around them. Fair enough. Guess what? Bring something to distract you. Bring someone else with you if you can. Like if they let you to bring a guest, bring like a cousin with you. Like, oh, we're going to spend time over here. Bring them with you, or have your phone out, have a crossword puzzle, have something else to where even if they are having their moments of talking, you're so distracted in your thing that it doesn't even bother you. You might even kiki along with them, but you're really focused on what you're doing. But again, protect your peace. I don't think you always have to be involved. I would tell your husband, nope, I don't feel like going this time, and that should be respected, and that's fine, because you and your feelings matter. That's what I would say about it. Dr. Mohn, did it jog anything about what you were going to say?
No, it didn't, and it's probably going to pop into my head on the way home.
Doesn't that happen? Our brain just on pause, and you're like, okay, I know I was going to say something. Let me track my steps. Right. Well, say, okay, let me trace my steps. Okay. Well, I hope that you can get something out of that to know, you should not have to be subject to feeling insecure or feeling like someone is criticizing you. No, that is not acceptable. So we hope that you can at least protect your peace. I'll say, okay. Well, Dr. I know you were saying something about let him address his family. Was it something in that realm?
Yeah, let him address his family, and you just make it known that this is bothering you, because you definitely don't want to, be feeling some type of way when you go around his family.
Yeah.
We're talking about blended families. This is part of it.
With adults. This is true. So, it just fits right in. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I thank you for writing into the Healing Podcast and for sharing your situation. If you would like to share your situation with the Healing Podcast, email support@thehealingpodcast.com or go to thehealingpodcast.com website, hit the contact tab, and fill out the little tabs there. Before we get back into our topic, a little word from our sponsor, Healing Expressions.
Are you someone who has been considering therapy? Perhaps someone else has told you that you need to talk to a therapist. Or maybe you're in a relationship and you want to discuss some challenges that you've been facing with your significant other. Maybe there's a communication issue, perhaps an incident of infidelity. Or maybe you just want to strengthen your relationship because you guys are thinking about taking another step. Maybe you're struggling with anxiety or depression, perhaps grief, life stressors, and you just want to share your thoughts with someone. Well, consider contacting Healing Expressions. Healing Expressions is a private practice located in the Atlanta, Georgia area. You will be given a session at an affordable price with a licensed therapist. If this resonates with you, consider going to healingexpressionsllc.com, reading about the practice, and hitting the contact tab to see if you can book a session. All right, thank you so much. And back to the Healing Podcast.
Okay, so back to the dynamics of a blended family. How will it work? Well, I am going to say, how will it work? It will work by communication. You have to be respectful of how everyone feels, everybody's role. Your role as a parent, maybe if you're a parent, your role, the role of the children. Be mindful, everybody's affected by this, in a way. You that got into the relationship, you're happy. You met somebody that you love now, right? Your child's circumstance is going to change. So be mindful how it's going to affect them. Now they have to add another parental figure into their life and get to know them. They don't know them like you know them. So be mindful of each other's feelings. Just be careful with that. I think let's back up real quick, because if you don't do that, Dr. Mohn, what are the disastrous things again that can happen if we don't blend the family right?
So you'll have, the kids, might feel left out. They might start acting out. They're going to feel resentment, loneliness. And then again, on the other side is, the person that you are, your significant other, may be feeling, some type of way and not feeling respected and kind of feeling left out. So, yeah.
Yeah, it will isolate us. It will isolate your children sometimes or your other family members. Like, I think Dr. Mohn mentioned this too earlier. Don't force anything. Dr. Mohn, the other dynamic is, what if the person is really trying? Like the new person is being patient and understanding with the children, whatever age, and they're doing everything respectfully, but the children are just giving them a hard time. They're really giving them a hard time. Oh, how does the other parent address that?
So, I really think that's when counseling should come in. And then every family counseling where you can kind of sit down. Your child might need some individual, counseling to address those things. If you are doing everything, you possibly can, and the significant other is, let's bring somebody else in. Let's all get together and, try to, make this work that way.
Yeah, I think perfect answer. Dr. Mohn, that's true. That's when you're going to need an outside source to help you communicate it, right? Because there are those times where it's not the parent, it's not the adult, it is the child who's being very difficult and sometimes manipulative, because they know they can kind of play you against each other. They know, well, I have my biological parent kind of wrapped around my finger, so I know I can kind of use them to manipulate the situation to get what I want, right? Because the other parent that came in might be more passive, nicer to you because they're trying to learn you and get to know you, excuse me, and oh, they're not gonna tell me no. Let me just go ahead and manipulate mom over here, tell them that, oh yeah, they're gonna give this to me, and next thing you know. So yes, be mindful. It's not always the parents. The other dynamic of the blended family, sometimes it's the children who are being very challenging and difficult. And we don't want the relationship, because the other negative thing is the relationship can end. It can cause a good relationship to end, to break up, because there's been so much conflict, right? You want to be careful of that. So one, I think Dr. Mo was saying, communicate, take your time, introduce your loved one to your children. Dr. Mohn definitely mentioned therapy when it's getting to the point where maybe the children are manipulating it. No pressure, right, Dr. Mohn? Nothing forced. Dr. Mohn, what else?
And also, I think it's important to set aside some time for you and your child. When you are blended, when you first get together, like we said, talk about change is, it's hard and difficult. And sometimes that child just wants to know, hey, I'm not losing my
yes,
mom.
Yes.
We're still going to be able to do the things that we do.
Right.
And so I think, setting some time aside for them is good, but also too, trying not to make unnecessary changes, because consistency is huge. They want to know that, okay, he's moving in, but okay, we're still going to have our Sunday dinners, or we're still going to have bedtime, or we're still, so I think that's important. And then, for the parents who are blending their families, understand that a complete, total blend may not be possible. So yeah, we're together, don't, come in with this Disney World, thinking like this is going to be perfect, because it may not. So anticipate that there might be some difficult times that everybody is going to need to adjust to this new situation. And then, I think this is a really important one. Speak well of your ex-spouse. Children don't need to hear you at the house with your new man bashing their dad, even if he is everything you think he is. It doesn't make this transition easy.
Tell him.
So, keep that to yourself. You and your spouse go out to dinner and bash him all you want to, but realize that this child loves him despite of. So.
That is true. Okay, so disregard me saying tell them, because sometimes but no, they will see it. If their biological parent is really not stepping up to the plate, trust me, children, they see it. Yes, they'll learn it. They don't need you to add your feelings or thoughts towards it. They will see it, because if that person is that way, the child will learn the behavior. So yeah, don't add your feelings towards it. Even if you're the one who messed up the relationship, don't add your resentment and your pain to that child. That's not fair to your child. And one more thing I'm going to ask is, if your child does bring up a concern about the new parent, believe them. I'm not saying jump on every single thing, because sometimes children do exaggerate, sometimes, or when they want something, but sometimes they're telling the truth. So if anything, be observant. They bring up a major concern of something that's going on, be observant, and other times check it out immediately and go from there. Okay. So that's what I'll say. Those are the dynamics of a blended family. But when you work it together, you have a nice family, good communication, an extended family. Now you got larger, you got more siblings, right? You have a bigger holiday season, maybe more people to share with, because some blended families work pretty well. I personally come from a blended family, and it worked out fairly well. I had some relationships in there that have, to this day, we rock close, and they know who they are, where from day one, it was like a connection. So, there are some good things with some blended family, trust me. So just know it can be good, it can be challenging, there can be some ugly, but it can work if you work it. Dr. Mohn, anything else on this topic?
No, I think we covered it.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Let me leave you with this. Family, like branches on a tree, we all grow in different directions, yet our roots remain as one. I thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast and for your support. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.